You want a copy of the amended agenda?
I got them all.
Oh, we need David 7.
6. Here's the quorum.
Okay, we got it.
Oh,
6.
thank you, sir.
5.
Oh, yeah, sure, like you don't.
Fact TV ready?
Yeah.
I would like to call to order the Bellows Falls Union High School School Board. Any adjustments to the agenda?
I would request that we move the executive session up after communication and public comments.
We're gonna move executive session right underneath 4.
We have an appointment of a school nurse to finish out the school year. Her name is Whitney Patterson, so under appointments, if any, we have that.
Whitney Patterson?
Whitney Patterson, yep.
EATTERSON.
Okay.
I have a couple of donations for the board to accept. One of them rather large. I don't know if you're okay adding those to the agenda. I don't know if you're okay with us talking about it under principal's report. But 2 pots of donated money, you might say.
David, a little assistance. How do we carry
Well,
that?
my response, Madam Chair, would be if we're spending the taxpayers' money, I think that we should have it as a warned agenda item so that people can weigh in. Generally speaking, I think that if people are offering to give us money, that we should avail ourselves of that at the first opportunity. So I would certainly be comfortable with adjusting the agenda.
And put it under the principal's report or put it under new business?
I would say new business if you're
Yeah.
gonna take action on it.
Okay.
Do we have to do anything?
You just have to read my motion and accept it or adjust that motion. But yes, we have a policy that says if we get donations, you have to accept it. So, yes, we don't just get.
Why do we have a policy?
Because of the lights and the ball field.
Yeah, there you go.
That free gift cost us
That's-
$40,000.
And an extra level of governance, yeah.
Okay. Anything else? So we're gonna go to review and approve board minutes for October 28th. Can I have a motion? Deb, would you make us a motion, please?
I move that we accept the minutes of October 28th. I'm sorry, is that the correct date? 2019.
And I'm going to ask, Madam Chair, if we can table those motions pending clarification of the language that appears, and let me borrow your minutes again here.
Page 3.
Under page 3, item page 3, item 8A, ratify support staff contract. I'm not contesting that it was the intent of the board to ratify the contract. I think we need to clear up the language that indicates that I had said that was an agreed 2.5% across the steps. And we can do that by a quick search of the Fact TV archives.
Okay. So there's a motion to approve the minutes. We now have a motion to table the motion to approve the minutes until we get the correct facts through watching Fact TV and getting the right language.
I would agree to rescind my motion.
Okay. Now there's a motion on the table to table approving the minutes of October 28th until we can clarify what was said in the meeting for ratifying the contract for the support staff.
I would think we could get that accomplished by our next meeting, right?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Can I add one more thing to D? Designate reps to the new transportation committee.
So we'd like to add under 8D,
Designation of representatives to the transportation committee.
What's it be, D3? Is that what you want?
D.
8D.
I'm sorry, my apologies.
That's okay.
That's 8D. Where did,
C is donations.
oh, I gotcha, because that went to executive session. Gotcha.
Correct. So, communication and public comments, looks like we don't have any. I would like a motion to move into executive session for personnel matter.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. We're gonna move into executive session, and we'll be back.
Are we going to go into the bubbles that we're
We're
heading?
gonna go in a bubble.
I just got here.
Executive. Boy. I'll go with an A there. T-I. Executive. That don't look right. How do you spell executive?
EX
Alright. E-C?
ECUTIVE.
Alright, I put an A in there. I didn't think that looked right. Oh, come on, Homer. God, I hope this is not a long one tonight. Session. Oh my God. S-E-S-I-O-N? Session? Or is it two S's? Huh? How do you spell session?
Oh, I'm sorry. SESSION.
That's what I thought.
I didn't know. I didn't know you were talking to me. I apologize.
That's right.
I was looking up the comment that David made at the other meeting, or what I wrote anyway.
Oh,
When does that come out?
the
video for that meeting?
what? October 20th?
That was the 25th, November 25th.
It should be already on.
Fact TV.
What it is we make a DVD. I think they make a DVD for every when we film here, so it should be in the archives. So whoever calls there asks for that meeting, and Alex should be able to. If it's not on DVD, you can copy it real quick. I mean, it only a matter of seconds.
It's
Well-
not. It's not streaming anywhere.
That I can't tell you. Probably is. Because that was only. No, that was only what, 2 or 3 days ago?
Let's see. They got.
It
the-
might not be.
I think it is. Oh, it's November 25th. Yeah, you only have October.
Yeah, because when they do it, it's usually up within the next day or two. So it's probably on TV already. I couldn't tell you what time it's on. But oh man, what a day. Is this still over the thing they were discussing the other night?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. Probably too.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh. Don't get in a bind. just went out on TV.
Okay.
That's what
Save people coming to
Make
the
it
office.
Who normally signs them? David? Do you sign the warrants for high school?
I do, and I have not signed them.
I brought them.
I did.
Thank you.
Got everybody back?
Okay.
So we were out of executive session at 7:05. And next item is policies. Doesn't look like we got it, or do we have some?
No, not yet. Nope.
Okay.
In between.
Alright, so we're gonna go to reports. Superintendent report.
I have nothing further to add to
What's in our packet?
what's in the packet. We just take a look at, we did get a STEM grant from a company called UB Tech that puts the software and robotics equipment in all the classrooms K through 8, so we're excited about that. Out of 250 schools that applied to the grant nationwide, they accepted 22, and we were one of them, so I'm happy for that. We continue to do restorative practices training throughout the SU. Most recently, we had the music festival on Saturday. It was well attended. Kids did a great job. It was very nice to see their hard work and dedication to their practice pay off. And it was nice to have us host it. Let's see if there's anything else I would like to bring your attention to. That'll do it.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me, can I ask one question? Chris, could you possibly get that thing on AOE on page 6 taken out because that's no longer applicable?
Yeah, this is the last board meeting that has it, so
Is it? Okay.
that'll go off. Yes,
Okay.
thank you. And what we're referring to is that the 173. Three. When we were talking about, so the public knows, is at one point all SUs in the state were going to have to separate the cost between special education and regulation, and so that's no longer the case. We don't have to separate those costs. But when this report out from the superintendent's office was created, that was still in play. So thank you for bringing that to our attention again.
Thank you.
Principal's report?
So, just a couple of things to let you know. Winter sports start on December 2nd. That's practices. We wrapped up our fall sports season with a lot of successful teams. We had the football team get to the state finals in football, but they lost. But they got to the state finals, which was good. We had the field hockey team, which was in what appeared to be a rebuilding year, make the Division I state finals, but they lost. And both of our cross-country teams participated in their state meets, and the boys came in third, and the girls won the state championship for Division III in cross-country. So yet another banner going up, which is fantastic, and congratulations to all the girls on that team. And the other thing that I will call to your attention is auditions begin tomorrow for our spring musical, which is Mamma Mia. So if you are familiar with that movie, it is a musical production based on the music of ABBA. So that's what you've got to look forward to for March 13th and 14th. Mark your calendars.
Thank you. Edie, business manager?
Yeah, John passed out the financials for me, and everything is on track. This is the new Cognos report. It looks better than the one directly from eFinance. However, on the expenditures, I'm used to seeing more details. I would like the details, so I've got to figure out how to change the reporting so that we can get the detail that we're used to. Plus, they use the function code, but I went in and beside each one I typed what it is. So that when you look at it, you know that 1102 is art. But no, everything looks fine. Of course, it looks like we've obligated a lot more in expenditures, but it's because of payroll encumbrances. But it's getting there. It's just a slow learning process to get what we want out of the software. It's real easy now to put stuff in. It's just you can't always get it back out again. I still haven't figured out how to get out a decent balance sheet, so I'm working on that.
Thank you, Edie. Anybody have any questions? Committee reports, policy committee update.
No, we're in between policies right now. The next policy that to go on the agenda would just be, it's not a new policy, it's an existing policy, so it would just be to accept any updates to that policy, which is the wellness policy, which covers, food and everything like that. So I would anticipate probably going back to policies after budget season.
Okay. Thank you. Scheduled building and grounds meeting.
I don't know that we've got one that we need to do. Again, especially we are
We're pretty
well into
filled.
budget
Yeah, this
season,
month
yeah.
is pretty filled with
So I
budget
wouldn't-
dates.
I don't see a need for a Buildings and Grounds Committee meeting.
Okay. WNESU board meeting review.
WNESU board met, heaven help me, it was last week, and I cannot give you the highlights without looking at the agenda. What do we have for highlights, Chris?
What do we have for highlights? What we had is that we had the presentation for goal number 2 on the continuous improvement plan.
And that is?
And that was safe and healthy schools. And what we did, we spent time presenting to the SU board about restorative practices that we have brought into Wyndham Northeast.
And our presenter was Jesse, what is his last
Jesse
name?
Hall, he's a
Jesse
coordinator
Hall.
of restorative practices.
Mhm. And his background?
His background is around restorative school safety and restorative justice. I worked with him in Brattleboro for about, I think, 8 years. And I snagged him from UMass Amherst. He was part of the staff there, so great addition to the team.
Priscilla's given me my prompts here. Thank you, Priscilla. And some of the other highlights were that we did get an update on a bus number 8, which will not pass a state inspection. We're, as I think we're going to do shortly, looking to constitute a bus committee, looking for membership perhaps from this board. We did have a query from Westminster about ponying up about $3,500 to cover their cost to send revised tax bills. And that request was also piggybacked by Grafton. However, we redirected them to the Wyndham Northeast Union Elementary School District because we're a fiscal agent and not a policy agent in that regard. And we had our regular update of the Ed Finance software and steps that the business office is taking to cope with that. And all in all, I think a pretty good meeting. Thank you, Priscilla.
Thank you. Any unfinished business? Nothing?
Nope.
Okay. New business for discussion. My apologies, I'm working off 2 agendas here for some reason, but we put C as donations, but we need to bump that because we have on our amended agenda C as approved teacher retirement.
Yep.
We need to move to D for donations.
Actually, there was another D, so maybe E. Wasn't there something else?
Yeah,
we
we're
added?
getting there. Hold on.
Okay.
I'm catching up. And then we're gonna put E is gonna be to designate representatives for transportation. And then I think I'm caught up. So new business. Schedule FY21 budget meetings. We have the dates. The dates are December 9th, December 17th, January 9th, and January 14th. We do not have a budget committee. December 9th is actually one of our meetings. So we're thinking about just having that be a budget committee meeting. Anyone can be on the budget committee meeting. We all can do it, or we can have a certain amount of people that commit to it so that we actually can get some work done on these 4 meetings. Anybody? David? Clark?
If we don't have a budget committee constituted at this point, my suggestion would be to appoint 5 members, because it means that you could run a budget meeting for this 10-member board with 3 members. And I likely to attend the budget meetings irregardless of whether I remember or not. So if my hat is in the ring,
I understand.
and if I don't get appointed,
And I don't think we need to
Either.
appoint, but I think we ought to have at least, like you said, 3 to 5 people that are committed to coming to these 4 meetings and
I'm
working
making
on
a
it.
suggestion, because if budget committee is going to recommend a budget to the board, then the committee will need to vote, and for that reason, you would need to determine what a quorum would look like. We have a 3-member budget committee for that purpose, just as long as we can get them there. I think 5 is a better number, because then you know, 2 out of 3 are missing, you would have no quorum. 2 out of 5 are missing, you have a quorum.
Okay. Does anyone here other than David, would you like to commit to the budget committee?
I will commit to the budget committee.
Deborah?
Usual suspects.
There's a lot more board members that aren't here, so if,
Yeah.
I mean,
Put Mr. Breyer on
Yeah, I was gonna
it,
say, put
Mrs.
Jack on
Scott
there.
here.
Don't miss a meeting, as they say.
so I will do it. That gives us 4.
It's 4.
One more?
Again, historically, Colin has had an interest in it.
Okay.
So without throwing anyone under the bus,
So let's.
He's not here, serve him right.
Let's sign Colin up.
There you go.
Did you get that?
Yeah, David Clark does
Okay.
write check by Colin.
Nice job.
Colin, start times for,
Yes, I
or
am.
do we
So
say-
start times we were thinking about for budget committee start times for the meetings being 6 o'clock.
What are the dates again?
December 9th, December 17th, January 9th, January 14th. And they'll be here?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, 8B is to, oh, we did that already. I'm still catching up on this new business. We have C, approved teacher retirement. Chris, would you just read that?
sure. I would invite someone to make the following motion. To move to approve the request from Jack Cahoon for paid leave.
Could you read it a little slower for us old folks?
Sure. I invite someone to make the following motion. To move to approve the request from Jack Cahoon for paid leave with healthcare benefits according to the following stipulations and with the following conditions. And by the way, Josh,
Okay, thank you.
I'll give you a copy.
Gotcha.
Mr. Cahoon will have paid leave with healthcare benefits for the second semester of the 2019-2020 school year. The start date of the second semester is January 28th, 2020. The deadline for application for the $7,500 retirement incentive will be extended to December 2nd, 2019 for Mr. Cahoon only. Number 3, by the close of business on December 2nd, 2019, Mr. Cahoon will submit a letter of resignation indicating that he will be accessing his retirement benefits by the end of the 2019-2020 school year. Number 4, Mr. Cahoon will work the necessary hours and days to give all of his first semester health and driver's education students all reasonable opportunities to successfully complete these courses by the end of the first semester. Number 5, the other conditions of the collective bargaining agreement remain in effect. And number 6, this agreement establishes no precedents relative to the collective bargaining agreement.
Would some, excuse me, would someone like to make that motion?
I move that.
Thank
I'll
you.
second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion?
Yeah. I just want to say that I'm going to vote against it because I happen to feel as a principal matter that when we spend the time and effort and expense to negotiate a collective bargaining agreement, we should not be in the business of making separate agreements with separate teachers for separate reasons. That's all. I think I've made my position pretty clear elsewhere.
Yes, sir. Anybody else? All those
Yeah,
in,
Molly, I'd like to comment, though, that all of these these things that we're agreeing to are part of the collective bargaining agreement and covered within that agreement. So the board does have the right to do this. Thank you.
anybody else? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed?
No.
Motion passes.
There's a trail to follow there. Then hopefully we'll pick up.
As an aside, Colin said thank you for pointing him to the budget committee.
Okay. Chris,
He likes it.
next is donations.
Sure. So, it has become somewhat annual, but always appreciated. Vermont Ben Win Charities would like to donate $7,600 toward our athletic programs. So, I have a written down motion. I didn't make a copy for everyone, but it's pretty straightforward. So the motion that I would suggest, and by the way, as we have done in the past, their interest is in the athletic program. And what we have done in the past, and what I would ask the board to support again, is to set this money aside in a reserve fund so that we don't end up being obligated to spend it in one particular year. It kind of gives us an opportunity to spread that out over time. So the motion might sound something like this. A motion to accept the very generous gift of $7,600 from Vermont Ben Win Charities Incorporated, with the intention of this gift to be the support of the school's athletic program. The money will be placed in a reserve fund from which funds will be drawn as needed for the purpose noted in this motion. If someone would
I
like
will
to
move that motion.
Second.
Here's what that looks like.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the donation. Is there any discussion?
Sorry, was that David moved?
David moved and Deb seconded.
Thanks.
Appears to be none. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Pretty good. Next, new business.
Well, I'll have one more other donation.
Oh,
There's two of
well,
them.
go for it.
There's this organization called the Haver Foundation. And the Haver Foundation, I don't know if anyone is familiar with them. I wasn't before they first started contacting us. Has resources that they like to donate to entities for purposes that are near and dear to them. They would like to donate $250,000 to our high school with a focus on financial literacy, online coursework, study of economics, the study of science, and those are their priorities. And so I would suggest that we accept that donation. And I have a motion, again, that I would invite folks to consider, but you may have questions.
What is it that the money has to be used for?
So, the, Mrs. Haver, who I believe lives in Saxons River and is one of the 2 trustees for the Haver Foundation, has, first of all, I want to acknowledge, seen a lot of great work at our high school, and that's why it has caught her attention and would like to support our school. The initial points that were near and dear to her when we first started having this conversation were financial literacy, the study of economics, and the study of science. When we initiated this conversation, we noted that we could start rolling with this sooner rather than later because VTVLC, the Vermont Virtual Learning Cooperative, has 2 financial literacy courses that we could engage our students with, just like we do with other online courses. When we started talking about that, the trustees for the Haver Foundation became really interested in just the concept of online education. For her, for Mrs. Haver, the big part is educational opportunities. And as she was growing up, many of these things were near and dear to her as educational opportunities that adults in her life connected her with, and have made all the difference, you might say. So when we started talking about online opportunities, that then kind of rose to the top of a list of priorities that they hadn't considered before. So now it would be, the top priorities are online coursework and financial literacy, but also we would have some discretion to apply that money to the study of economics and the study of science. And I will let you know that there are bits and pieces of financial literacy that happen here already, but we could probably do it in a much more thorough and comprehensive way with access to these resources. I already have a committee of staff members meeting to talk about what might that look like. We've met once, but to start doing some, if we had these kinds of resources, how might we be a little bit more expansive in this as an opportunity? I can tell you that on our College and Career Awareness Day, in the afternoon for the juniors, we do a financial reality fair. And I mentioned this to you, actually. I handed out those sheets here. That, of all of the outside-the-box things we do for an entire class, I have never seen something so engaging for the students. I think that there's strong student interest in these areas as well. So I think that we could do a lot with this. They also want this to go into a reserve fund. So clearly it's not to be spent between now and the end of June, but will give us the opportunity to plan, ideally, some sort of enduring learning experience for students. But at the same time, we have already put a survey out to the 11th and 12th graders. We started with them about who might be interested in taking an online financial literacy course now, and we got some pretty good response. And again, my sense is that they're so excited about this. They've essentially been saying, send me a bill for all of those online courses that you want before we even get to this. That's the kind of enthusiasm that they have for connecting students with these topics, but particularly in an online way. You know, not having to commit to coming to the classroom experience, that you can do this learning wherever you can tap into the internet. So the motion might sound like this: to accept the very generous gift of $250,000 from the Haver Foundation, with the intention of this gift to be the support of student learning and growth in the areas of 1, financial literacy, 2, online coursework of any kind which helps students progress toward a high school diploma, 3, the study of economics, 4, the study of science. The first 2 areas listed are the priority areas for the use of these funds. The money will be placed in a reserve fund from which funds will be drawn as needed for the purposes listed previously in this motion.
I have 2 questions. One is this all an oral conversation between you and her?
The second trustee who is the bank connection, yes, yep.
So there's no letter from them?
Well, no, there's a lot of emails. There's a lot of email exchanges on this too.
There's a lot of what?
Email exchanges on this.
Email.
Yeah.
And number two, does it have to be even among all those
Nope.
4 areas?
No, it doesn't. And honestly, I was quite surprised at the level of autonomy that they are providing us. They just want to know what we've done with it. Initially, when we had this conversation, I was kind of setting ourselves up to make proposals that they might approve and then provide the funding for that. I literally got a phone call that said, and email exchanges, can you just take $250,000 or, do we have to parse this out to you piece by piece? In other words, can you set up a reserve fund for this in order to pull this off over time? And I spoke with Edie about it just to cover our bases, and yeah, we can do that like we do with other reserve funds. So that's been the level of conversation. So.
What kind of supports are you going to have here in the building for doing this for students? Because sometimes online courses
mean for the
need
online
a
piece?
lot of supports from a physical person
Right.
being there.
Now, because this initial rollout of it is targeting second semester, and what Priscilla's getting at is typically when someone does an online course for high school credit, we usually set aside time in their schedule to support that, and sometimes we set that aside with some adult support in mind. This initial approach, I think students would have to take this on knowing that there might not be significant support here, mostly because the second semester schedule is already built. So we would make it clear to those students that that we are not building this into their schedule. This would be on top of their schedule, and that may change the minds of some of the folks that are interested. Down the road, we would approach it the same way we do typically when we're building the schedule. So the short answer is there might not be a lot of supports here for that in this next semester.
But it doesn't have to be used in the next semester.
No. But if some wanted to do it, it would be available.
I would like to offer the proposed language that Principal Hodson has just given us into consideration by this board in the form of a motion.
Thank you.
Second,
Motion is made and seconded to accept the donation of $250,000 from
The Haver Foundation.
the Haber Foundation. Is there any more discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes.
I have no more money at my sleeves.
All right. So, we are down to our last new business. We need to designate some representation on a transportation committee. Yeah, that's the appointments, all right. Anybody interested in being on the transportation committee? I'll do it.
Great. Thank you.
Do we need more than one? Okay.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Our next thing is appointments. 2019-2020 school nurse.
So the quick and dirty, Whitney Patterson. So you know that Jen Joy, at the very beginning of this school year, requested and was granted a leave of absence for this year. We were able to fill the position in time for her to access that, but we were filling it, we had advertised and we didn't really have a lot of success, so we were filling it very competently, but not consistently from day to day. So we have a nurse that is a WNESU floating nurse who was helping out. We had a retired nurse that was coming back for 1 day a week, and we had a sub that was also covering for part of that week. Whitney became available. She is a nurse practitioner with 12 years of experience. My recommendation was master's plus 30 at the 12-year of experience
Correct.
spot. 1999 graduate of BFUHS, so it's hard for me to believe that she's been out 20 years, and yes, I do remember her as a student. But comes to us with lots of good family practice experience, which will apply well here. So that's the recommendation.
Can we have a motion
And
to,
it is for a contract just through the end of the year.
so can we have a
Yes.
motion?
I will make that motion.
Thank
And I would
you.
like to speak to the motion.
Okay, can we have a second first?
Second.
Yes, David.
And what I want to say is, according to a story in Vermont Digger today, the state of Vermont is looking at a shortage of approximately 3,000 nurses over the next few years. So if you have a good candidate, I'm very happy to lock that candidate down.
As
Is
the
this permanent? or-
No, this is, well, it's full-time every day through the end of the year, as opposed to 3 different nurses every week. So this is only through the end of the year. But,
So we're not locking it down.
oh, we're locking her down through the end of the
At the
year.
end of the year.
But only till the end of the year because we only granted
A 1-year
a
leave of
1 year
absence.
leave of absence for our full-time nurse. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We have a nurse.
As the dad of a first-year nursing student. And you're
Me
not,
too.
I can dig those numbers that you just shared there, Mr. Clark, is, so.
Director's comments.
I just would like to wish everybody a safe and happy holiday for Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Deborah?
Again, just like I did at the SU, reminding people about the Community Day on December 4th. There will be daycare and childcare provided, a free meal, and lots of opportunities to talk about what your passions are for our community. If you are a Rockingham resident, the information is available on Facebook. It's in the newspapers. I think maybe Fact TV will be posting some ads. I'm afraid I didn't bring a flyer with me, but please participate. It's one of the subjects is education, so it behooves us all to see what monies can be brought from the north down to projects that will benefit our future board members. That's it. Yeah. Thanks.
Deb, what's the start time for that?
They start at 2:30. There are hour-and-a-half sessions. There are 9 of them altogether, starting at 2:30 in the afternoon until 8:30 at night, with the meal at 6 to 7 o'clock.
Thank you. Priscilla?
Just thank you to my fellow board members for being such a board that's interested in the students and willing to work and make it successful in such a pleasant way.
Thank you.
And I'm also interested in the students, and also particularly about how vaping impacts this campus. I would like to know how we address those issues.
Stephen? Okay, so anybody has items for next board meeting, they can let Chris or I know.
Just got mine.
The next board meeting is December 9th, and it is starting at 6 o'clock because we're going to talk budget. Meeting is adjourned.
Edie, do you want checks from